Hey, what's up? It's your boy Serrano. Welcome back to another video. So today we're going to be taking a look at the Samsung Galaxy A16 5G, and we're going to be comparing it up against the Redmi 14C with the Hyper OS versus the One UI up software. So make sure you guys stay locked into the end of the video. If you're brand new to the channel, I truly appreciate you for coming through. If you're new, but if you're already a part of the crew, salute. So let's go ahead and take a look at both of these phones. I definitely want to talk about these in comparison to one another because they're like $50 apart. They came out about 1 month apart, and yeah, they both have similar, price points as well as build qualities and features. So we're gonna jump into it right now, but make sure you guys stay locked in with me, okay? But yeah, let's just go ahead and talk about it. I definitely like the customization that we're getting on the Redmi right here. As you can see, this is just a crazy theme that they got going on. And one of the things I like about Redmi is their OS, like the way that they do it, because it's giving you so much to play around with as well. So yeah, I want to go ahead and talk about both of these phones. So let's start out with what comes inside the box. So this is going to be a win for the Redmi because inside the box, this is like a big heavy box that the Samsung used to give a couple years back. I can't remember what year they stopped, but the Redmi is going to give you a case included in the box. So you get a case with the phone. You also do get a 33 watts wall charging brick, which is absolutely insane because that means that you're going to be able to charge it much quicker than normal. And yeah, so they give you the adapter and everything with the cord. You also get the SIM remover tool inside of there as well. So yeah, this device, the Redmi, actually charges up at 18 watts fast charging. So I kind of don't even want to open up the Samsung box because all you're getting is the SIM remover tool and the cord to charge it with, and that's basically everything that comes inside of here. So yeah, the cord's inside here. It is a fast charging cable. They don't give you the brick, but this phone is capable of charging at 25 watts charging speeds. But besides Motorola OS, these two are my second favorite. I think I like Redmi a little bit more than I like, actually Samsung is probably the best one, and then Redmi, but the Motorola I definitely think has the fastest and most optimized UI. But when it comes to software updates, we're actually getting 2 years of OS updates on the Redmi 14C and 4 years of security patches. And then on the Samsung, we're actually getting 6 years of OS updates and 6 years of security patches. So that just, get that out of the way. And now let's talk about both of these devices. They've actually been out for about 6 and 7 months. So the first one to release was, I think it was the Samsung, which was like out 1 month earlier when it came to the release. If correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section, but I think it was released like 1 month earlier in October. Actually, nah, I'm capping. The Redmi was released in August, and the Samsung was released in October in the US at least. So in the US, it was released less than that. So I just want to mention that, but it's been out globally for like 6 months. So it's only been out in the US for like 2-3 months. So I just kind of wanted to throw that out there. But yeah, when it comes to, overall hardware, you're getting the slick design, which is glossy on the Samsung. You can see right here. And then with the Redmi, it's actually giving you like this fake leather. It's an imitation leather. It kind of feels soft to the touch, and when you put your fingernail in it, it doesn't leave an indentation, which makes me believe that this is like a plastic back, but it definitely feels pretty smooth to the touch. Like it has that fuzzy kind of feel to it. So when you touch it, it does feel kind of like some type of texture of cloth or leather. But yeah, it's definitely going to be like fake leather on here. So on the sides, you actually do have, both of these devices actually do have SIM remover slots with SD card expansion. You're going to see that the Redmi has the headphone jack, whereas the Samsung doesn't have the headphone jack. But that's because the Samsung is going to have IP54 rating and the Redmi is only going to be water and dust resistant. And so on the other side, you're going to see that they do have volume rocker and power button located on the same exact side. And so, yeah, one of the things about this fingerprint sensor on the Samsung is that it's kind of indented in the side with the power button. And this one, you could actually feel it kind of popping out of the phone, and which feels real nice. So yeah, let's listen to the button clicks and see how those sound when I'm touching them. So you can hear the Samsung has like a really nice button click. Let's do the Redmi. Not as loud. So the Redmi does have a satisfying click, but it's just not as loud. Let's do a fingerprint test on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. And those are pretty comparable. 1, 2, 3. And I think that was the same time. One more time. All right. So yeah, on the bottom, you're going to see that we both have single firing speakers, Type-C for charging, and a microphone. And then the Samsung has a microphone at the top, whereas the Redmi only has one microphone on there. So yeah, I actually have this themed out with one of my favorite themes that I like to use on Redmi, because they have, one of the things about Redmi phones is they offer the theme store, just like how the Samsung Galaxy has that little theme store for, you know, downloading apps, which is kind of crazy. So yeah, they have their own store for, you know, not only for games on the Samsung, but you actually get like a theme store too. So if I just tap themes right here, it will pop up. So yeah, I definitely like the fact that you can customize these both to your liking. They both have very good customization, but one thing I like about the Redmi is that everything that it has to offer in their store is free, whereas the Samsung, they actually make you pay for it. So yeah, that's definitely going to be an advantage to the Redmi, because you're going to be able to get everything in the theme store for absolutely free of charge, which is bananas. I really like customizing my Redmi phone and everything like that. So let's talk about the overall dimensions and the display. So basically you can see that when it comes to the brightness, I'm just going to turn these all the way up. But obviously the better display is going to go to the Samsung with the Super AMOLED panel. Let me switch these because I have them on the wrong side. So yeah, the Super AMOLED panel up against the LCD panel on the Redmi. So obviously you're going to be able to tell the immediate difference, because we actually get a full HD plus display on the Samsung versus only an HD plus on the Redmi. The Redmi does have 120 hertz refresh rate, which is going to give it, you know, a smoother look. When you're scrolling, you get the 90 hertz on the Samsung. So yeah, they both have really good displays. But one thing that I want to mention about the displays is that they both get pretty decently bright. They're both, you know, you get the 21:9 aspect ratio on the Redmi, so it's a little bit skinnier, whereas you get the 19:9 aspect ratio on the Samsung. It's a little bit wider. And so you get 385 pixels per inch on the Samsung, 260 pixels per inch on the Redmi. And then obviously you're going to get the 1080x2340 on the Samsung versus 720x1640 on the Redmi. Now, the Samsung does tout Gorilla Glass 5, and the Redmi is going to tout like, you know what I'm saying, just like a normal, I don't even think they offer a name for this protection on here. So yeah, they don't tell me what it is, but obviously it's going to be pretty durable for a budget phone. Let me clear all my information right here. But yeah, it's both of these devices do have their fair share of lag. So I just want to mention that. Like right now, you can see the Redmi is actually operating at a reasonable speed when it comes to everything that I'm doing on here right now. So yeah, it's definitely a reasonable speed with the Redmi. The Samsung too is a reasonable speed. But today when I was actually using the Redmi, when I was using the Samsung, I was actually trying to type out something on the Amazon's just typing out something, and it was kind of an embarrassing moment because I wanted to show somebody something real fast. And so when I started typing and like using it, it was loading, and it took a minute for me to get that like typed in. And I was kind of embarrassed. I looked over and the dude was like, wait, your phone's still not loaded up. So that's when the Motorola G stylus came into the picture, and I pulled that out and put the 16 back in my pocket, and then I used this one and it saved the day. So I was grateful that I had this phone because I was able to actually search faster. So that's one of the things that you might notice, is that on the Samsung or the Redmi, if you want to search something real fast, it's going to be kind of difficult to do that, just because these are budget phones and they take kind of they take their time when it comes to loading up apps, and even just connecting to different websites is going to take a couple of seconds versus like the Moto G stylus took like 1 to 2 seconds on every page. So yeah, that's going to be a big difference if that's something that just like you're kind of curious about. But let me compare the displays on both of these guys. All right, so I'm going to press play on both devices. Let me turn the volume down just so you can't really hear nothing from either speaker, unless we're going to do a microphone test right after this to test out the sound quality on both. So stay locked in to the end of the video. But if you're still here, just type down in the comment section, I'm still here, so I know you're still kicking it with me. And I just want to remind you to hit the like button so we can get this video out to more people and help beat the YouTube algorithm. All right, so let's hit play. And let's go into the gear icon on both to test out the settings. Now, as far as the settings, you go to advanced, and you can see we have 2160 on the Redmi, and then only 1080 on the Samsung. So that's kind of interesting to see that. No rockage whatsoever on the camera unit on the Redmi. On the Samsung, there is a slight rock, so I just want to mention that. As far as the display, you can definitely see that the AMOLED on the left is going to be a little bit brighter. Right now, it's actually paused. Let me see if I could make this catch up. There we go. All right, so now it's caught up. So yeah, like I said, you can see that the 2160 does have a little bit more of a loading time. So let me make that catch up to the Samsung. But yeah, you can see that as far as the colors and stuff like that, it's going to be a lot more brighter. But you also do get a bigger display on the Redmi. It's actually 6.88 inches versus 6.7 inches on the Redmi. So yeah, skin colors look really clean. Colors look pretty good. Viewing angles are pretty good on both of these devices. I'm not even going to front. But let me put this one on 1080 just so you can kind of see them kind of even. But you do get 1440, 2160 on this one. I'm not sure why this one doesn't offer the higher resolution and whatnot. But you can see right here, they're actually even now. So let me just pause this one so we can catch up. Yeah, so 120 hertz refresh rate on the Redmi and 90 hertz refresh rate on the Samsung here. All right, so we're going to do the speaker test. So listen close. This is the A16 real fast. So let me know which one did a better job. It kind of sounded like the Samsung had a little bit more bass, but they actually sounded very similar overall when it came to the mono speaker on there. Now, when it comes to cameras, the advantage is going to go to the Samsung because it has a 50 megapixel versus the 13 megapixel on the Redmi. We also have a 5 megapixel wide angle on the Samsung and a 0.8 standard on the Redmi. And then you get a 2 megapixel portrait on the Samsung as well. And then on the front, you're going to get the 13 megapixel on the Samsung versus the 5 megapixel on the Redmi. So I definitely think that Samsung takes this one when it comes to the cameras. But let's just jump into them so I can show you some of the functionality and features for both cameras. So we're going to just dive in to the cameras real fast, kind of compare them side by side so you can see what I'm talking about. Let's do a selfie. We'll put it on portrait. You can see that the colors are much more saturated on the Samsung. 1, 2, 3. It looks like there was faster shutter speed on the Samsung, but that was just what I heard. And you can see they're both flipped the opposite way, but as far as the detail on my face, it's actually pretty close, but you can see that the Samsung kills it with the saturation of my face, making it look kind of more realistic and everything like that. So yeah, the Samsung definitely killed it. You get brighter colors on the Redmi, so if you're into like brighter colors and like a lighter facial complexion, I guess that would be better too. But yeah, you can definitely see that the Samsung has realistic colors on there as well as realistic detail. They both did a really good job though. I can't even front, and the Redmi definitely is impressing me with the 5 megapixel camera. You know what I mean? Because the 5 megapixel compared to the 13 still did a pretty decent job. So yeah, I kind of wanted to show you what it looks like when you take pictures on both. So let's have these models kind of pose real fast, and I'll take a shot on the Samsung first. Let me flip the camera around, and this is just a regular shot. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the Redmi. So let me flip the camera sideways, turn it around, and then take a shot. 1, 2, 3. And then the shutter speed on that photo for the Redmi was actually on point. So it was really good when it came to the shutter speed that time. And then this is what you're going to get when it comes to the details of both images. So more saturation on the Samsung. And yeah, lighter colors overall on the Redmi, but it still does a very good job of depicting detail and representing an object in its natural state. So I could definitely say that they both do a good job, but if you wanted more contrast on the photo, obviously you can edit it with the Redmi. But yeah, if you didn't want to edit it, it's already pretty saturated on the Samsung. But they should have pretty similar modes on both when it comes to the cameras. So let's just go through all the modes so you can see them. So they both have time lapse. They both have video and photo, portrait and night mode as well. 50 megapixel camera on the Redmi, which is also good to see on there. And then, you know, as far as the video, we're getting 1080/30 on both of these guys. And if you swipe down, you get your options for the camera right here by swiping down. You can go into settings, and then it will give you, it won't give you stabilization for the video on this one. But if you go into the Samsung settings, it actually does give you stabilization for the video. So you get that as well. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to throw that out there. And then you also do get the ability to switch between the front and the rear camera on the Samsung while you're recording, which is definitely going to be pretty good. So like if I'm recording this box right here in front of me and I hit record, on the Samsung, it actually lets you flip the camera around while you're recording. So you can still flip it back, whereas the Redmi, you don't have that feature. But yeah, they both do a really good job, like I said, when it comes to representing an object in front of you. I just feel like the colors are going to be a lot more punchy and saturated when it comes to the Samsung. So I want to do a quick performance test. First, we're going to do the app opening test. I'm going to shut down all the apps in the background for both of these phones. And let's just do an app opening test on the count of 3. So the icons look different, but let's do Facebook 1, 2, 3. Wow, so I do have app lock on the Redmi, which will actually make it load up longer. But you can see right here, let me go ahead and show you some more apps. Let's do AliExpress. A lot of them are going to have app lock on, so I should probably turn that off. But you can see as far as the speeds on both, that was almost a tie. I think that was a tie right there. Let's do Amazon. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's going to go to the Samsung. Redmi is still loading, and the brightness you could definitely see is not as bright as on the Samsung. So yeah, if you were looking for a brighter display, and this is what I'm talking about when it comes to the lag. You know, when I was using it, let's do Amazon Music, 1, 2, 3. I almost wanted to throw it across the street onto the side of the curb and watch it kind of like shatter. But then I realized I do like the Samsung a lot. And yeah, I didn't do that. But loading times, you're going to see that both do kind of struggle when it comes to loading up apps. So it's going to be a little bit embarrassing if you're trying to show someone something and they're just standing next to you and you're trying to type it in and like search for it, especially with both of these devices. So you can see that they're both pretty, you know, they take their time when it comes to loading up apps and stuff like that. So I just wanted to mention that they will, you know, kind of take their time when it comes to loading apps. Wall Candy, 1, 2, 3. And this is the wallpaper app I use to customize my phones when it comes to wallpapers. And you can see the Samsung definitely destroyed it right there with the Redmi. Let's do one more app. We're going to do the Bible app on the count of 3. So let me see, 1, 2, 3. And this is the last app I'm going to show you guys. And then we'll jump into the gaming test to test out the performance. So yeah, all rounds went to the Samsung on this one, but let's test out the gaming on both devices. All right, so real fast, I just want to go over the gameplay on here. So you actually do get smooth and ultra on the Redmi 14C, which is one of my favorite settings. And it actually feels pretty smooth. So let's just jump out and land on one of the levels right here. Try to land where there's a lot of people so I could get a couple kills. So we actually get the Helio G81 Ultra, which is on the Redmi 14C. And it does actually give you a pretty decent amount of gaming quality on this. Has the Mali G52 MC2 with 4 gigabytes of RAM as well. And like it feels pretty smooth also with 128 gigabytes of internal storage. So we have the light sensors, accelerometer, compass, and ultra proximity virtual. The ultrasonic proximity virtual, sensor. So yeah, it's pretty decent when it comes to speeds. It actually moves pretty quickly now that I'm messing with it. Put the volume up just a little bit. It's very easy to cover the speaker on here, so you might want to use headphones when you're playing. But right now, the gameplay on here is actually pretty impressive. I don't have any issues with this gameplay. And right now, there's no stutter, no lag. So the way it's moving, I could definitely get some kills with this. I could definitely do my thing with this. So I'm actually pretty impressed with the gameplay on here. So yeah, I definitely can say that if you're looking to play PUBG or something like that, this will be a pretty solid performer. All right, so we're gonna jump into the Samsung A16 so I could compare the graphics with this one. But right now, I'm actually thinking that this one may have a little bit better performance. It just feels really smooth right now when it comes to PUBG right now. Yeah, very little. I hear some gunshots. Which way are they coming from? But yeah, I could say that this is actually pretty decent gameplay right here. I hear the gunshots coming from that direction. So I was able to get a quick kill right there. But yeah, let's test out the A16 real fast. And they did credit me for that kill, so I did get that kill. So I'm using the A16 right now, and as far as the sensors on this, we're actually getting the some pretty good sensors on this. So we do get the gyroscope to work with, the geomagnetic sensor, and the ultra proximity virtual sensor as well. They're also giving you a light sensor and accelerometer on this too. So yeah, the gyroscope is going to be definitely clutch when it comes to using this. Now, as far as the overall processing power, you get 4 gigabytes of RAM, 128 gigabytes of internal storage to play with. We're also getting on this the Mali G68 MC4. This is going to be pretty good when it comes to gaming. This got the Exynos 1330, which is not my favorite chip in the world, but it does do a pretty decent job of getting some pretty good graphics going on here. So yeah, I just want to mention that. And then let's go into the settings and the graphics. You're going to get smooth and high, which is actually lower than what we got on the Redmi. But will you notice a difference is the main factor. And I would say it's just as smooth as the Redmi, if not smoother. So yeah, no lag on this. Every movement feels realistic and clean. So that's not going to be an issue. Speaker does feel like it's easy to cover up if I'm playing on here. So I just want to mention that. But I feel like you could definitely get a lot of kills if you're playing PUBG on this, even with this budget phone. So 174 is going to be a really good price for this. The cheapest link I'll make sure I leave down below. And then with the Redmi 124, and I'll make sure I leave the cheapest link down below for that one. But yeah, overall, you can't really go wrong with either one of these phones for gaming. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. But I definitely can say that they both feel pretty smooth and lag-free when it comes to playing PUBG Call of Duty Mobile, which I like to use whenever I'm gaming on a budget phone. I feel like that's my favorite game to use. But let me know what your favorite game to use is when you're playing mobile gaming. But this is probably my favorite game on the Play Store right now when it comes to 3D environments, interaction, and just, you know, gaming processing power. I feel like this is the best one that you can use to test when it comes to gaming. So yeah, this probably will be, if not just as good as the Redmi, it might be a little bit better. But like on the Redmi, I did see that you do get higher frames when it comes to graphics, which is going to basically make the Redmi slightly better because of that. But let me know what you guys think down below. But yeah, I think both of these phones will do pretty good when it comes to gaming, especially PUBG, when you want to actually compete a little bit. This doesn't have lag on there, and it actually does feel pretty smooth. So $50 more for the Samsung. You get 6 years of OS updates, 6 years of security patches, 2 years of OS updates on here with 4 years of security patches. Both have the same amount of RAM and storage. I definitely like the cameras on the Samsung a little bit better, but they both do a pretty good job. Let me know what you guys think down below. Which one would you pick up? I definitely like this texture on the back of the Redmi. It kind of looks really good. And you also do get this smooth, nice glass mimic texture on the Samsung, which actually looks really good too. But it's up to you. Let me know what you guys think. You be the judge. I definitely think that the Samsung might be slightly better, but that's just my opinion. I do think the Redmi holds up really well. I really love this finish on the back and the customization when it comes to the software too. I'm really impressed with. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this one. Hopefully you guys did find this video helpful in any way possible. And if you did find it possible, then just type down below in the comment section, I'm still here, so I know you're still kicking it with me. And I just want to remind you to hit the like button so we can get this video out to more people and help beat the YouTube algorithm. I'll hit you back. I'll check you guys later. Peace. Namaste.